Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Ruben Barrios. First and foremost, I would like to introduce myself as the newly promoted Area Shift Lieutenant. Although I'm newly promoted, I have 15 years experience as a Houston police officer, serving in multiple roles within the police department, which include being recruited to a detective robbery sergeant spot where I supervised multiple detectives and also worked my own cases. Before that, I was handpicked by my commander to serve as the proactive sergeant over a hotspot unit in the largest command station in the city. I also served as a field training sergeant who trained newly promoted sergeants. Therefore, I believe I have a lot to offer this community. I would like to apologize that the commander could not make it. However, he has sent me in his place as this is the area of my responsibility, and I'm proud to conduct this meeting. I would also like to apologize for the purpose of this meeting, as I know you have a lot of concerns, which I'm going to address, and I'm hoping that we can mutually develop solutions for these concerns. After speaking with the commander, I have advised him that I would like to implement a plan of action that I look forward to addressing your concerns and hearing feedback for these issues. With that being said, I'm confident that we can address all parties' concerns. Furthermore, I believe we can align with the chief's message and the mission of the Houston Police Department, which is to enhance public safety and reduce the fear of crime while enhancing the quality of life. I would like to begin with a brief intro on how I begin to solve these community issues. I'm using a modified decision-making tool known as a three-prong approach, where I will implement three phases known as education, enforcement, and environment. It's very similar to a SARA model, which some of you might have heard, which helps solve problems and identify them. Using these decision-making tools will help identify and solve and address all areas of concerns. Once these problems have been identified and in target, we can begin to implement initiatives and address these issues. I've already met with my area sergeants, who are the first line supervisors and have firsthand knowledge of all the issues in these areas. We have gathered some background information using our crime analysis, and through that information we've gathered, I see that there are several causes for concerns, which seem to be very apparent. Some of these issues are issues such as speeders and four-wheelers racing throughout the parks. In one instance, a citizen threw a brick at one of those speeders. We have a strong marijuana smell coming from the city park where the kids play at, and a number of juveniles being noisy. The area burglaries have rise in the residential area, which has been very alarming to me, and I'll address those comp stats later. I'm also hearing rumors of MS-13 in the high school, which has been neither confirmed nor denied, but I have invited the principal to this meeting, and different stakeholders which will be allowed to speak later and address those concerns. At this point, we don't have a school resource officer, which I've contacted him, and it turns out that he's on baby leave, and we are going to address that issue immediately as well. And I'm also getting another complaint of drug dealers selling to the kids after school. My goals here are to obtain buy-in from the community and improve the quality of life for all residents. I want to build trust through transparency, which will create a safer environment and reduce the fear of crime for all citizens in the community. Furthermore, I want to ensure that procedural justice and sound investigations are done and completed, which will result in strong convictions and also build trust within the community. This will ultimately create a safer environment for all residents, and I want you to know that I empathize with all citizens in the community, as I myself have been a victim of a burglary, and I know what it's like to have my personal space invaded. Therefore, I will make it my commitment to create a safer environment for the community. Moving forward, I want to implement some short-term goals, which will immediately alleviate any crime in the area and then we'll get to the long-term goals. My top priority will be the juveniles and the kids in the community, because they are paramount to the future, and I'll always see the kids as the foundation of our future within the community. I've addressed the sergeants in the area and have required them to immediately increase directed patrols and stagger all shifts for patrol officers in order to create higher visibility in the area, which will deter any crime and deter criminals from entering the neighborhood. I've also required all marked patrol units spend their uncommitted duty time in areas of high crime and also the city park to maintain visual presence. I will also have my supervisors and their officers conduct foot patrols in the crime to alleviate any drug crimes being committed there and help alleviate the smell of marijuana. I will place 2 of my officers in the school as temporarily assigned school resource officers, one of which will be a gang officer that can be on the lookout for any gang nexus or gang affiliations or gang crimes being committed in the school. Once a permanent school resource officer has been found and implemented inside the school, I will have those 2 officers train and mentor those that officer, and I believe this will have an immediate effect on short-term effect on crime. Moving forward on our long-term goals, I would like to continue with my top priority, which is to target the youth. I want to begin with my first phase of my plan, which is education. I will get with my gang sergeant and my narcotics sergeant and implement programs such as a drug awareness program, similar to the DARE program, and also the GREAT program, which is gang resistance education and training. These programs will bring awareness of gangs, drugs, and different types of crimes and elements and nexuses that they bring to the neighborhood. I will also have the staff of the school attend these classes, which will ensure that they can identify gang crimes and gang members firsthand. I would like to implement these as after-school programs, which will give the youth more secure options for after-school hours. Studies indicate that after-school hours are severely important until their parents have arrived home, and are some of the most crucial hours in a juvenile's day. These are hours in which the children are more likely to become involved in criminal activity without having adult supervision, and are more likely to become involved in a gang due to lack of attention and affection. I would also like to have rehabilitated gang and drug users come and speak with the local high school kids. This will bring awareness to the youth, and they will be able to explain the problems that they faced and how they became victims to these crimes and problems. My goal here is to use what is called the crime triangle to solve these issues. By creating awareness, we can disrupt the crime triangle by removing the victim element of the crime triangle, which will not allow the crime to occur and ultimately reduce crime. Secondly, we will move to the environment portion of my plan of action. I have communicated with my area supervisors that it will require directed patrols during the peak hours of when school is being released. This will help reduce the drug activity. Furthermore, I'm going to have my differential response team conduct a crime prevention through environmental design, also known as CPTED, check inside the park, which has been occupied with criminal activity and drug users, and also the smell of marijuana. After conducting the inspection, I will have them reinforce the area through the use of CPTED by trimming any shrubs, by reinforcing the gates, by using proactive lighting, by ensuring the surveillance is working and in a visual area and properly functioning. I will also have them post no trespassing signage and have them display the park rules and regulations inside of the park, which will be strictly enforced. We need to make sure that if we want the kids to be able to play at this park, that it looks like a park that kids can play at. I will also have a reactive approach here, which will consist of using crime analysis reports to locate convicted offenders near the schools. We will conduct interviews with these incarcerated suspects to gain intelligence on why, where, and who the drugs are coming from and why they're being distributed here. This will help during the enforcement phase and lead us to the root cause of the problem. By placing a long-term stop on these crimes, it will not allow these crimes to become a revolving door. Through the enforcement phase, I will employ my crime suppression team to locate and surveil these drug users, in which crime analysis is identified through past arrests. My warrant squad and sergeants will also be holding our priority against these warrants with a drug nexus and a gang nexus, and make it a priority to apprehend these suspects. I will then instruct these squads to work side by side with a special prosecutor to ensure the gateway criminals remain incarcerated. My investigative squads will also be monitoring social media and confidential informants to gain various intel that could lead to the development of more suspects, and also to gain more knowledge in order to charge these suspects. We have found that in the past, criminals love to brag on social media, so on platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. Using our gang tracker database, we can help measure and monitor these suspects. At the front lines, I will set expectations for sergeants to employ a 2 traffic stop minimum to their officers per day. Our goal here is not to cite law-abiding citizens, but prior experience indicates that traffic stops lead to guns, the recovery of guns, drugs, and wanted suspects. Finally, I will implement a warrant and parole violation roundup, which has shown to provide positive results and reduction in crime in the past. I'm confident through enforcement we can remove the offender element of the crime triangle. Next, I would like to address the burglaries in the area. I've looked at the stats, and the burglary show to be 107%, which is alarming. The comp stat indicates that the offenders are not staying in jail, are being allowed to recommit these crimes. I want to have my area burglary and theft detectives begin with reactive investigations to strengthen these cases. I want to have them speak with a special prosecutor on offenders that have already been charged, and I want to see if they can recharge some of these guys and have them stay in jail longer. I also want to perform another function of reactive investigation where we identify previously convicted suspects. This will be in order to keep an eye out and monitor these suspects to prevent them from committing any more crime, to ensure that they do not strike again. Using the 3 E's here, I will also have my differential response team conduct a target hardening check and ensure that residential properties are properly secured. This will include making sure gates are secured, windows are properly functioning and locked, as well as ensuring the door jambs are properly installed, and lighting and cameras and such. Target hardening will ensure that offenders move past these properties, thus making citizens less of a victim and removing them from the crime triangle. I've also scheduled a town hall meeting next week for my DRT squad to make a presentation of the target hardening in order to disseminate and get that information out there faster and more expediently. This meeting will be scheduled and posted on our social media website, as well as the community service team will be providing flyers out there. The meeting will be providing examples of target hardening and SEPTED, such as using 2-inch screws to secure deadbolts, camera placement, clearing views from residential windows. I will also be providing the meeting in a virtual setting for those who cannot make it or are unable to see it that day. Myself, along with my field sergeants from community service team, will be conducting site inspections to ensure accountability from our officers on those target hardening checks. I've also met with investigative sergeants and lieutenants from divisions such as robbery, burglary, theft, and major assaults, who have ensured me that the detectives are working round the clock to solve cases in our area. Last but not least, I have spoken with City Council, who has agreed to give me 100 more flock cameras in the area to record license plates and makes and models of the vehicles, which has proven in the past to be effective in solving and monitoring crime. With this technology, we can flag vehicles and locate them quickly and efficiently. It's important that we use surveillance to preserve evidence and ensure procedural justice in order to arrest these suspects for the right reasons. At the end of the day, we want to make sure we arrest the right suspects for the right crimes and have strong convictions. I would also like to develop and implement a neighborhood watch program along with the social media website. I know from experience that not all citizens feel comfortable speaking with police officers. This will allow them to have a voice in the community and bring any matters to my attention or any problems they might have with my division or some of my officers. In regard to the street racing and the speeders in the areas, I have met with the traffic enforcement sergeants who will be placing details in the areas of the alleged speeders. This will be a short-term goal. I've also requested that they conduct target enforcement, which will include a plan of action against particular traffic hazards in the area. Examples would be timing the lights and speeders at certain intersections. That way we're enforcing the right areas. I will also ask them to place a speed trailer outside those concerned areas. That way the citizens know and are aware of how fast they're traveling. I will also temporarily be placing unmanned patrol cars in various locations of the neighborhood to deter speeders. These vehicles will be moved daily and have been proven to be effective and efficient in deterring speeders in the past. I will also like to briefly address the citizen who threw a brick at a passerby. Although I can understand his frustration, I have to explain that we cannot allow our anger to turn into violence, and that crime will be investigated as such. I prefer that the citizen come forward and allow us to fully investigate this crime with remorse in his mind. I would like to elaborate on that and explain that I am fully committed to abiding by the oath that I gave to the citizens of Houston and to ensure all public safety. I would only ask that in the future you put your trust in myself and the Houston Police Department to provide public safety and swift justice. In conclusion, I will be following up and monitoring the work of all officers and field supervisors to ensure that productivity is increasing and that the fear of crime and crime itself is being reduced. After reviewing work cards and investigations, I will adjust and adapt any plans that I have going forward, and I commit to adapting to those plans. Should our proactive measures not prove to be impactful, we will change our course of action. We will move to a more reactive stance if we have to, with using tactics such as unmarked surveillance along with other tactics. However, I'm confident with the implementation of these techniques that we'll provide positive results and bridge the gap between the community and the police officers, thus providing a more trustful and transparent relationship. I have provided my commander with this plan of action, and I'm looking for any recommendations or suggestions that he might have, and I will accommodate him in any way. Lastly, I am confident that if we work together to accomplish these tasks, we can fulfill the mission of the Houston Police Department by creating a safer neighborhood and a safer environment while enhancing public safety and the quality of life and preserving the peace. I would like to thank everyone for coming to this meeting, and I look forward to the follow-up meeting where I can receive feedback from the concerned citizens. I want to thank you for having me, and I will open the floor for questions. And I also want to make myself and my sergeants, as well as my officers, available with our direct phone number to anyone who might have any concerns. Thank you. Have a nice day.